Geography now, Bosnia and Herzegovina.
You know, learn about a new country again. More geography now.
Let's go! We have so many now. We're just doing so many countries all in one. We're just going to cover the entire continent of Europe and then go more in depth, right?
We're gonna be the most educated Americans ever. On
We are.
geography.
I mean, I know where Bosnia is on a map, so
Yeah, it's like right there.
yeah, it's on there. But let's go check this out. Bosnia, from what I know about it, basically, um, there was that war, and they were Yugoslavia.
That's all you hear about in American history
Yep.
because America was a little bit a part of that.
They don't really talk about it much else in America, which really sucks because there's so many different cool cultures to learn about, and I'm sure Bosnia is one of them that we were neglected to learn about when we were children, and it really is unfortunate. But let's jump into it right here, right now. You Reds?
Reds.
Let's do it.
Belgium was confusing. Brother, please, if you want complication fanatics, come to Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Oh, brother, please.
To learn geography now.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Paul Barbato. If you're ever on a game show and there's $1,000,000 question, chances are this country will be on that $1,000,000 question. So pay attention, you might win some
Really?
money. Bosnia and Herzegovina have what seems like a very simple flag, but there's a lot hidden underneath it. First of all, the flag has a blue field with a yellow triangle and 7 full stars and 2
flag.
half stars
Yeah,
at
it
the
is.
top and bottom of the hypotenuse of the triangle. The triangle represents the 3 constituent peoples of Bosnia and Herzegovina, the Bosnians, Serbs, and Croats. It also respectively represents the map of Bosnia, which kind of looks like a
Oh.
triangle. The
That's
stars
cool.
represent Europe and are meant to go on forever, hence the half stars at the bottom and the top. Some say the flag was even partially adapted from the European Union flag. The colors white and blue and yellow are traditionally seen as colors representing peace. Now let's find out how peaceful this country is, shall we? Remember Belgium and how confusing that whole Flanders Wallonia thing was? Well,
Yeah.
get ready
Yeah.
because we're going to conquer one place with 2 regions, 2 entities, and a weird third semi.
That is a lot more complicated than Belgium. Belgium was like bottom top. This one is like, oh boy.
It's really wiggly. Yeah, it's not like a clear divide where they're like, the border they just kind of combine 2 sections of other countries. This one, it's very wiggly. Lots of migration, I bet.
A lot.
Autonomous region district. Just fair warning, you might have a
Oh.
seizure trying to understand all of this stuff, so if your brain's not
Oh,
that
no.
strong, just fast forward to the physical geography part.
My brain
We'll
is
have
not
some
that
nice pretty
strong.
pictures for you to look at. First of all,
We haven't
Bosnia and
done enough
Herzegovina is
geography now.
located in that
Oh.
lovely area of mass confusion in South Europe known as the Balkans, located to the south of Croatia, west of Serbia, and north of Montenegro. You would think that Bosnia and Herzegovina is landlocked, but if you look very close, you'll notice they have the smallest little panhandle that touches the
close.
Adriatic Sea
Oh.
for only about 25 kilometers or about 15 miles. Now, here's where things get tricky. When you hear the name Bosnia and Herzegovina, you would think it kind of sounds like 2 separate nationalistic entities, kind of like the UK or the United Arab Emirates, but that's
Yeah.
not really the case. So, first of all, what exactly is Bosnia and what exactly is Herzegovina? Well, in the shortest, simplest way I can put it, they're just regions. Although the borders are vague and
Oh,
not clearly
interesting.
defined, Bosnia is generally located in this area, and Herzegovina is generally located in the south in this area. Culturally, the people of Bosnia are the same as the people in Herzegovina, except there are more ethnic Croats living in the south by Herzegovina, especially on the border of Croatia. The only reason why it's separate is because some guy in the 1400s created his own country. He had the title of Herzog, which is where the name Herzegovina comes from. But other than that, it's just the same country. Now, here's where things do
Wow.
get divided, though. Bosnia and Herzegovina is kind of divided into 2 separate entities, each one with about half the land of the country. That
This is
serve the
very
3 different
confusing
people
already.
groups known as the constituent peoples, a unique term that only applies to Bosnia and Herzegovina. We'll explain more about this in the demographics. Essentially, Bosnia and Herzegovina is divided into the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Republika Srpska. I know, it
Whoa.
looks like it's
Oh.
pronounced Srpska. It's pronounced Srpska.
That's Srpska. That's so interesting that it's divided. You would think by name it'd be divided by those 2 places, Bosnia and Herzegovina, but those 2 are together and there's another one there. That's so interesting.
That is like a very interesting fact to learn. That's like one of the most interesting facts we've learned on these geography nows.
That's a new trivia question right there. You can ask your friends if you want to be the nerdy guy of the group.
Tell me where Srpska is.
Cool.
Triple diphthongs are an amazing linguistic phenomena. Most of the ethnic Serbs live in the Republika Srpska, and each side has its own capital. Sarajevo for the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Banja Luka for the Republika
Oh,
Srpska.
different.
However,
Interesting.
Sarajevo
I
acts
did
as the
not know
national
that.
capital
Wow.
for the entire country as well. Furthermore, the Republika Srpska is split into two
I've actually never
regions.
heard of the Srpska capital. I've heard of Sarajevo, but I never heard of the other one, which is very interesting. Banja Luka. Oh, I wonder how big it is, like what the population is.
Yeah, Sarajevo's decent size, but it's not like super duper big.
Interesting.
Furthermore, the Republika Srpska is split into two regions, and then they are both divided into cantons, or counties, and municipalities. 10 for the
Definitely
Federation of
get
Bosnia and
confused,
Herzegovina, and 7 for the Republika Srpska. Keep in mind, Bosnia and Herzegovina has two small municipal
What
exclaves
the
on the Sava
heck?
River on the border of Croatia, known as the Posavina Canton County. These belong to the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina and make the smallest cantons. Then you
So
have
if I'm listening correct, that's because more Croats live in this area, or what?
Yes, they're not Serbian, at least.
Interesting. Let us know more about this if there's more explanation to be done down in the comments below, because this is very interesting.
Bosnia and Herzegovina and make the smallest cantons. Then you have the weird Brčko district. I know, it looks like Brčko. It's pronounced Brčko. That was a
Brčko.
quadruple
I can't roll my
diphthong.
R's.
Gotta love
Brčko.
these Slavic words. This place is kind of seen as like a neutral ground and kind of belongs to both entities, and it kind of governs itself. All of this was done to kind of alleviate
Wow.
the demographical tensions in the country after the Yugoslav wars in the 90s. However, the strategy behind it has always been kind of shaky in its foundations. Speaking of war, this place has a lot of lingering reminders of its brutal past. Like in Sarajevo, there's a tunnel museum and the Sarajevo Roses, which are mortar blasts in the sidewalk that were filled up with pink
man.
concrete. They do have a little small sense of humor, though. They made an ironic iCar canned beef monument dedicated to the longest airlift raid attempt in history for nearly 3 years, in which humanitarian airlifts from all over Europe, and especially in the UK, would drop off food supplies that were often expired leftovers from previous wars that nobody
Oh.
wanted to eat. Many
That's
times
so
the food
messed
contained
up.
pork that many of the Muslims in the country had to abstain from eating, so it was useless to them. It was literally the world's most sarcastic monument ever. Now, if you thought Bosnia and Herzegovina was pretty quirky with their land borders, then you'll notice that the actual land has a lot more tricks and gimmicks.
I want to see some tricks and gimmicks.
First of all, the country is mostly mountainous or hilly, as it lies on the Dinaric Alps in the Balkan Peninsula, with flatter lands in the northeast by the Pannonian Basin. About half
Gotta
the
be
country
beautiful.
is forested, and
Yep.
about 30% of the land is arable, mostly in the northeast regions, whereas the south, mostly in Herzegovina, is more rocky and dry than the rest of the country. Now, this is where things get a little interesting. Yes, the country does have a lot of potential arable land, but the problem is, due to its war past, the country still has about 200,000 landmines that they have to clear from the ground. But I mean, hey, that's only like a third of the amount from Albania, remember? Woohoo! Slightly less danger! Then, in the Republika Srpska,
That's
you can
so
find the last jungle
scary.
or primeval forest in southern Europe. The Peruchika
Jungle?
forest, which is
Look at
only
that.
accessible to explore in the company of rangers. The world's tallest Norwegian spruce tree can be found here, and many captivating
What?
waterfalls and ancient
Weird.
trees that take you back years in the past. Now, here's the funny thing. Many people in Bosnia around Sarajevo will tell you that they're pretty certain that the country has the world's largest man-made ancient pyramid. Located near the town of Bisoko,
Whoa.
the hills in the region seem to have an almost perfect geometric shape that creepishly resembles a pyramid with almost equal sides and angles. Modern archaeologists are skeptical, but if you look at the pictures from above, I mean, it does
I mean,
kind of look like a pyramid. I don't
it's
know. you be the
pyramid-like.
judge. Also, thanks to its
Have they
mountainous
investigated
terrain,
that yet?
Bosnia and Herzegovina was
I don't know. They said they're skeptical. I don't know. I mean, if it's like, what if it's like a million years old from some ancient alien civilization?
I gotta get my hair all crazy. It's the ancient aliens.
Oh no. Could be. You never know what was there before us. You never know. What did history erase?
They built
Elected and-
pyramids.
They did.
hosted the 1984 Winter Olympics in Sarajevo. However, since then, the entire area, including the bobsledding trail, is all but completely abandoned and tagged with graffiti. It's actually kind of a popular tourist spot these days. Bosnia and Herzegovina just doesn't stop when it comes to the strange atmosphere, but the people here are even more complex.
Let's see.
Here's the rule with Bosnia and Herzegovina. You always have to constantly think in threes. Never refer to everybody in the country as just Bosnians. Half of everybody will get super mad at you. First of all, the country has about 4 million people, about 48% of whom are Bosnians, 33% Serbs, and 15% Croats, with the remaining 4% from other nations. The three main people groups of this country are pretty much what make it function in such a weird way. Now, here's the funny thing. Bosnians, Croatians, Serbians, and even Montenegrins can all pretty much understand each other with their languages. Their languages are all pretty much the same Slavic-based dialect with a few differential nuances. The only difference is that typically Serbian is written with a Cyrillic alphabet, and Bosnian and Croatian is written with a Latin-based alphabet. However, they will fiercely tell you that the languages are separate and distinct languages: Croatian, Serbian, and Bosnian. They even put warning signs in all three languages on cigarette packs. So essentially, it's like this. Hi, I'm speaking American. Hello, I'm speaking British. Hi, I'm speaking Irish. You know, you guys all pretty much understand each other and you're all kind of like saying the same thing. Aren't you all speaking the same? No! Now here's where things get really confusing. Bosnia and Herzegovina has a bicameral legislature that includes a 3-member presidency. One for each of the people groups. The Serbs, the Croatians, and the Bosnians.
Whoa.
That's right. The country
That
has
has to
3
get
presidents.
so
You don't see anything like
confusing
this
and
anywhere
messed
else in
up,
the world.
right?
However, the state government
3 presidents at the same time?
And it's interesting too. I mean, it depends. I don't know how the power system works out. They probably have different representatives for other things as well. But if there's 3 presidents and 48% was Bosnian, and then 25% was the other one, and
Serb.
14% was, yeah. If it's all like that, then would that cause an unequal power balance, or then do they balance that with something else?
Yeah.
In, like their other section of government.
Yeah, because if each of them had 1/3 of the say, that'd be a huge Croat, like, overrepresentation. They were only 15%.
Weird.
Interesting.
is highly decentralized, and a lot of the legislation just
Highly
goes to the
decentralized,
respective
okay,
entities.
that makes
Culturally,
sense.
this place sticks out. As a former part of the
Just needed
Ottoman
to listen for
Empire,
2 more
Islam
seconds.
spread to
Yeah.
the East, and today
Good thing we didn't comment right before, and then post the comment, and then play the video, and then be like, oh, I'm not going to delete my comment anyways.
Yeah, a very common thing we see.
Yeah, yeah.
it is still part of the religious majority. Muslims make up about 45% of the population, most of whom are
Still not getting to
non-denominational
50.
Muslim. About 36% are Serb Orthodox Christian, 15% Catholic, mostly from the Croats. It's kind of strange because Bosnia is one of the few places in the world where you can find the whitest Muslims you will ever see in your life. It's funny though, because for a long time Bosnia and Herzegovina was also under the Austro-Hungarian Empire, so you kind of get this weird European Muslim Eastern mix in terms of culture. It's also kind of
that's
known
pretty
as the
cool.
place where World War I started. Remember Archduke Franz Ferdinand? Yeah,
Archduke.
that's kind of how the country interacts with itself. Now, how does it interact with the outsiders?
Who's their friends?
Now, this is where things get very politically divisive because the
Liberia.
country has a very
This is an interesting one because the Balkans, you know, like you said, it's a very tense area. A lot of people don't like their neighbors.
Yeah, which is typically the friend zone is the neighbors usually.
So will this one be a lot different than the others?
very deep history in alliances
Maybe
and
they don't like
enemies. Without getting
Croatia.
into too much detail, essentially in the 90s, the country was in
Maybe.
a straight
They have
up
that-
war internally,
Oh,
and it
man.
was basically against all three people groups. After the war ended and the Dayton Agreement was signed, the country cooled off, kind of, and the people agreed to calm down a bit and
Bill,
stop killing each other
Bill.
and make a new country,
Bill.
kind of, and the people
Well,
agreed to calm
Bill,
down a
Billy,
bit
I did not have relations with that woman.
and stop killing
Bill Clinton.
Bill.
each other and make a new country that had a full sovereign status as one, but with divided regions that were somewhat segregated. Did you get that? This was the best they could do, and I mean, honestly, with a country with that much internal animosity, it worked kind of well. It's like, look, we all hate each other, and we still do, but things have gotten a little too crazy, so let's just agree to stop all the chaos and hate each other in a distant yet constructive way so that our country can still make money and not get ridiculed by everyone else outside. Deal? Deal. In terms of
Pretty
outside
insane
friends,
that's how a
Bulgaria was the
country
first
was
country
built.
to recognize Bosnia and Herzegovina's
Very
sovereignty
unique
and
history.
immediately stepped in
Oh,
with
yeah.
bilateral relations, and the two get along just fine today. Surprisingly, Malaysia is also a huge supporter of the
Malaysia?
country, and during the war became the only country in Asia to accept Bosnian refugees. To this day, many Bosnian students study abroad and live in Malaysia. Now, when it comes to best friends, it really depends on who you ask in the country. Of course, the Croats will tell you Croatia, the Bosnians will most likely say Turkey, and the Serbs will say Serbia. In a weird way, though, the division of
Makes
peoples
sense.
kind of inadvertently increases the diplomatic relations that the country as a whole has access
Yeah, that's
to.
true.
For example, Bosnians may not like the Russians, but the Serbs in Bosnia and Herzegovina do. Therefore, the country as a whole benefits from the relations that one people group engage in, regardless of how the second feels.
Diversity
Isn't
is
that
a
weird?
positive.
It's like the friend of my enemy is by default my friend too. Welcome to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Many Bosnians have actually tried to contend for a unified central government all under one legislation. However, the Republic of Srpska is fiercely opposed to this. They only kind of reluctantly agreed to be under Bosnian and Herzegovinian sovereignty just by a few strands of hair. And they've even threatened that if Kosovo gains complete independence, they will have no problem annexing themselves back to Serbia, which would make Serbia look like this.
That would be a weird
Oh
border.
my gosh, that would be horrible. I could not look at a country that looked like this unless it's an
It looks like
island.
I don't even know. I was gonna say it looks like something, but I can't.
I don't even know. This is like, oh, this looks like a goat. Look at the mouth.
What?
See this mouth? Just imagine a goat being like, look at the little mouth right here.
If
With
I like
its-
really zoom in, I can
With
see
its
it, but it
ears back. Come on!
I see the mouth, yeah, but I'm not zooming in enough. I still see the rest of the thing, and it looks
Zoom
like a
in
very
more.
deformed, an amalgam of a goat.
And then this is
A futuristic
spaceship.
pistol. Oh yeah, that too.
yeah, okay, let's continue.
In conclusion, Bosnia and Herzegovina is like the
Right
Belgium
before the
of the
conclusion, we
Balkans,
talked
but with
about
stranger
goats.
conflicts, quieter controlled anger, slightly dysfunctional politics, but with a pinch of sarcasm and dry humor that gives the country its spicy appeal.
Oh yeah.
Stay tuned. Botswana is coming up next.
Botswana.
One of the
Wow.
smaller countries we reacted to from geography now, but one of the most unique. That is very cool to learn about.
The demographics and the history of that place are very different than a lot of the recent history, I should say, are a lot of. It's very different from a lot of the countries we've reacted to so far from Europe. So it's very, very interesting and a very different one. Hopefully, you guys enjoy.
Yeah, let us know what we can check out next from Bosnia or any other country you want us to learn about. Any other video, just suggest us something, please.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep going through geography now across Europe, and we're gonna get deeper into some of these countries soon. So be ready for that. This channel is really about us learning about Europe deeper. We're having a deeper connection with our roots from however long ago we came from these places.
That was me just storing all the information from this video.
Good job. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.